Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting podcast. I'm your host, Sean Higgs, coming at you here. It's Tuesday, the 21st of January. Matt Fargo in the house today. Brian Biller, I guess he's shoveling snow or bundled up, or listen, he was taking care of his folks' house. There could have been a dog emergency. He's like, hey, can't make it today, fellas. It happens. We all have lives. There's other things goes on sometimes, and we want to get you your free picks, absolutely. And that's what me and Matt will do here today. But before I get to that, like, subscribe, notification bells on, so you know when we do a free pick video with Matt and myself, Brian, or Doug, or Chip and Jim, or Scott Pritchard, or Victor King, Mark Lawrence, whoever. We got you covered here with free picks on the YouTube channel. You can leave a comment if you want. Let us know how you're doing with your picks. But again, these are free picks here. All right. You want our premium stuff, the goodies, to go to gamblersworld.net for all of our premium content, where our 3, 7, and 38 packages are guaranteed. We show you a profit over that time, or we credit you back for the same period. I love the day pass. I pump that every day here because, Matt, like me, we, multiple sports, multiple games. A day pass for $69.99 is a great value. Why wouldn't you get it? Now, we've wrapped up with college football, but college hoops, NBA are now in full swing. We're down to our last 3 NFL games. It's going to be hoops and hockey. The old H&H coming at you here at Gamblers World Premium site. We got the leaderboard. Go get it. Now, Matt Fargo, let's talk. We got some college football. We'll brush on last night's game. I had Ohio State had the under, so I ended up splitting out there. But on the season here, 112 and 89, 56%. Not a bad. I think I was finished number 2 in the money on the site here. I can't complain about my year. The game last night, I mean, got a little dicey there at the end. I think Ohio State was up 31-7, and they were like, all right, this game's over. And then next thing you know, boom, boom, Notre Dame comes back into it. You know what? Before we even get at it, let's rehash your weekend. How'd you do this weekend? What do you got on tap? And then we'll go back to Colorado, the college football game.
Yeah, decent weekend. Winning Saturday, winning Sunday. 3-0 NFL. Some went 2-0-1, depending on the KC line. If you got it early, you won. If you bet it late, you lost. If you bet it half hour between, you probably pushed. But and then 4-1 on Monday. 2-0 college hoops, 2-0 NBA. Unfortunately, lost with Notre Dame. Don't think it was the right side, to be honest with you. Like you just said, I missed the second half. I had to run out to the airport, but so I cut the box score. Notre Dame scored those 2 long touchdowns in the second half to get back into it. They got outgamed pretty significantly. Kudos to Ohio State. They were the dominant team throughout the playoff, and they definitely deserved it. Ryan Day was, getting rushed out of town after that Michigan loss, and he proved that he could rebound and get it done. So good for him. Good for the Buckeyes. Good for you for the win. Unfortunately, I had the wrong side, but it happens. Not a great college football season, but a good bowl season. Good ending. 8-4 finish to the bowl season, and team props. The win totals ended up 5-2-1, so got some futures there. And kudos to everyone who had the Buckeyes. Well deserved.
You mentioned the win totals. I had Utah over, loser. My guy Cam Rising doesn't come back.
Right.
I had a K-State win total, loser. Not couldn't get there. Iowa did get there. I think they got their 8 wins, barely. And then I had a Colorado under 5.5 plus 145. That was no good. Not a good year on the totals, but overall it was a winning season. I could take that. You mentioned the KC game. How many times do you tell people here, Matt, that you don't wait till game day? People complaining. Look at this.
Right.
I mean, I saw the whole it's rigged. Look at this. Take it to safety. It's rigged, fellas. You could have had 8. I mean, I think you could have had a 7.5 on Sunday night when the lines came out. I mean, if you're waiting till the bitter end. That's how you lose a game, or you get a push instead of getting a win. Now, if you're taking this is the I don't know the delicacy or the skill, however the card reading, if you want to be like of it. you have to kind of think where the game is going to go, right? Where the line's going to go. When I do my look at lines, I'm thinking this is what I think is going to happen, and I do them before the games are played Sunday. I think X is going to beat Y. T is going to lose to M, and I'm going to get a line here, so people are going to jump on this. You have to be able to see where that game's going to go. Like, people are going to not and maybe you're thinking it's going to come down, right? Because it's 8. Wow. What's the thing? Chiefs can't cover. Chiefs don't cover. Chiefs don't cover. And as it's going up, I guess you're thinking, all right, I'll hold out. If you think that's the case, but that's part of the game we play here, Matt, right? You got to kind of think to where you and it's not just the one game. This is why, we have a premium side of picks here and free picks. The average person isn't, that one game to them is huge. To us, it's one game in a 6-month season where it doesn't really win or lose. It's just another game. We move on to next weekend. But
right.
What are your thoughts? Like, I mean, the people complaining. What do you could have got an 8?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, opened at 7.5, went up to 8, fluctuated between 8.5 most of the week, and I think I put my game in, I believe it was Wednesday, so I got the 8.5, and it stayed that way up until Saturday morning maybe, and then it went up, and Kansas City money's going to come in on Saturday on game day,
Yep.
and it's all public money, and the lines, the line's going to move. So if you want to back Houston, wait, because that line is going to go up, no doubt about it, just because it's Kansas City. And like you said, they haven't been good at, winning by margin this year for sure, especially big margins. So if you want Kansas City, you have to bet it early. If you want Houston, you have to wait. But like you said, you have to figure out where the markets are going to go, where the money's going to come in late, and where that market is going to end up being. So people complain about the safety. Oh, it's rigged. Well, rigged what way? Towards Houston, towards Canada? I don't see. I talked to so many people this weekend about, the fix is on. I'm like, no, actually, it's not. It really isn't. It was the smartest play you could do in that situation. Yes. Every NFL coach is going to call that play when you're up that amount. Yeah. I mean, you take the safety. You're still up 2 possessions. You're wasting 15 seconds off the clock. You're taking the risk out of a block punt, a punt return. Granted, the odds are very slim on that, but it can happen. And then onside kick, the risk is taken out when you get a free kick after the safety. So smart play. Just because it's right around the point spread, people will say fix. No. And it's going to be the same way this weekend. Buffalo KC. Is KC going to be the public favorite again towards the end of the week? I would probably say so. What's your thought? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I said to somebody on the Twitter the other day, like, they don't cover. It's Houston all the way. They were 12-4 ATS. Mahomes is, 17-3 straight up. Mahomes is in the playoffs, and I think 12-4 ATS or whatever along those lines in the playoffs. It's a totally different animal. I mean, these guys, look at the playoff scores of these guys. They cover games. Last year, they were underdogs in every game. And now you're going to give them 2 or have them as a 2-point pick. And I like Buffalo. Buffalo's a good team. How do you go against Kansas City here? And it was 1. That's 1.5. I see 2s out there. He's lost 3 times in the playoffs. Overtime to Brady, and then they changed the rules in overtime, right? I mean, after that one, and then the Allen game,
right.
He beat Brady in the Super Bowl, and then he lost to Burrow in the championship game. That's the team. I'm going to go against this guy at home in the playoffs in a pick 'em. I have to take Kansas City. I don't. Seriously, I'm like dumbfounded by, and I've said all year, they look like they could get picked off. It's not the same kind of team. And last week they didn't look all that good. All right, you know what? Here they are. 16-1 now? 16-1, going to the third straight a game away from the third straight Super Bowl win. Third straight Super Bowl win, we should say, or trip, whatever. 2 in a row. How do you go against Kansas City?
It's hard. I agree. It's hard to do that.
Last year, every game. Buffalo, get your revenge at home. You lose to them in the playoffs. You beat them in the regular season. Now you got them at home, beat them. Nope. They play a tough game. Baltimore, run all over these guys. The Bills just ran all over them. Beat them at home, your favorite. Nope. San Francisco. Listen, Shanahan, you had a 10-point lead over these guys in the Super Bowl already in the fourth quarter. End it this time. Learn from your mistakes. You're up at the half. You're up in the fourth quarter. You're up with a minute to go left in the fourth quarter. You're winning in overtime. You can't beat this team. I mean, how do you go against them? How? Sorry, cut you off there.
Yeah. No, it's all good. No, like you said, like the one loss was to Burrow, and for some reason, Burrow has Casey's number, and the same goes for Buffalo in the playoffs. Casey has Buffalo's number. This Buffalo team is different as far as, they're more balanced. I think they have a better roster all around from top to bottom, as opposed to having 2 or 3, big time receivers. It's just kind of more balanced where I think they became the first team in history with, 30 rushing touchdowns and 30 passing touchdowns, something along those lines. So, this I think is the one year that Buffalo could pick them off. But like you brought up the point about, this team, the Chiefs team, they just know how to get it done when they need to. And my God, they got outgained again last week against Houston, and they still found a way to win. Granted, the couple penalties I think turned those two, roughing the passer or personal fouls, whatever you want to call them, I think turned into 10 points. Maybe it was just 3, and then they took some time off the clock. I forget what the second one really turned into, but they just find a way to win. And, people don't like Kansas City. They don't like Mahomes. They don't like Kelsey. I get it. And it's just frustrating for them. But, man, when you go through a streak like this where you just know how to win, it's coaching. It's freaking coaching, man. And I'm not saying McDermott's a bad coach, but he kind of blew it last week in the second half, man. Baltimore was all over them in the second half. And if it wasn't for that drop pass, I think if that game went in overtime, Baltimore would have come through, because they just seemed to dominate and roll through that Buffalo's defense in the second half.
And we'll touch on that real fast with Lamar. He's terrible. I mean, okay, interception, fumble. You turn him over 3 times, you got a problem. Mark Andrews had a big fumble, and then the drop. I mean, we're talking about play calling. Why aren't you running this Derrick Henry down their throat there at the 2-yard line? Bad rap for Lamar. Guy can't win. I mean, he's 26 years old. How old is he? 27. I mean, the guy's young.
He's young. Yeah.
They're writing off, and I saw someone put on the Twitter, he's the same record as Peyton Manning has in the playoffs at the same age. And who Manning had? Brady, Roethlisberger, guys who are winning Super Bowls. So, and who's Lamar losing to? I mean, Mahomes and Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, guys who have gone to Super Bowl. Mahomes have won them or knocked out the next guy up or whatever, and Burrow's gone to a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think it's fair to be like the guy's a bust when you're playing really good teams, especially you lose to a team that wins the Super Bowl, gets to a championship game. It's not like it's not like they're losing to the wild card team. I mean, it's not like I get it. If they would have lost to the Steelers or the Packers or whoever they're playing, if they would have lost to the Chargers, some garbage team, you'd be like, that guy's a choke artist. Really? The guy, I mean, It makes it for the TV shows.
Yeah, he's 3-5 in the playoffs. That's what Peyton Manning was, and Peyton Manning's all-time great, and Lamar is going to be also. He'll get his. I firmly believe that he's a good quarterback, and I'm a believer of playing football in the elements. As a football fan my whole life, games outside, games in the weather. I love it. I think it's great. Unfortunately, when you get into the snow games, things can get a little wonky. And both games on Sunday, I think the weather definitely affected the outcome of the games, and it's unfortunate when that happens. And that Lamar fumble that he had in the first half, where he just lost the ball. He lost the grip of the ball.
Yeah.
And that's weather. And that's unfortunate. And he gets a bad rap. Oh, he lost another, big game. Well, yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't all on him, and he shouldn't take the rap for it. And Andrews really shouldn't either. It's just coaching Harbaugh. I don't know. Like you said about give the ball to the freight
You're
train.
there. You're there.
Why risk it? Why risk it?
At the end of the game, you're a 2-point conversion away from going to overtime. That's the bottom line. You can say, well, this happened. They run the ball in, and like you said, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I'm not saying Harbaugh's a bad coach by any stretch. I think he's a great coach.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I've read, some things, after the game where, Harbaugh, he's not that good. He's a choker artist too. Like, no, there's probably one risky call, which he probably should have gone the other way, like you said. And, if it's a clean field, Andrews doesn't drop that ball probably.
Yeah. Hey, listen, both teams played in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's you can't say both teams were there. I don't know what it's like. Pete Carroll still getting stuff for throwing the ball instead of running it with
right
with the beast mode there at the one. You throw the ball, it's picked off. Like who saw that coming? What are you doing?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Enough about our little football for 15 minutes. You probably want your college hoops, and why wouldn't you? Because college basketball last week. Tuesday and Wednesday, we did basketball 11-7 with our college basketball free picks here on the Winner Circle YouTube channel. If you want our premium stuff, head on over to gamblersworld.net because Matt Fargo, I see he's got like 8 games up today or something like that. He's ready to rock making me look bad. I got a 3-pack going, and this guy's rolling them all out. This is a good day to get the day pass for Matt Fargo here with his college hoops. Real fast, though. Brian's not with us. He was going to do the Mississippi State game, Tennessee game. Let's just brush on real fast. This will not be any kind of official pick here. So we're not counting the other guys' play. We're just going to kind of glance over it here. Tennessee, 7.5-point favorite here, total of 140. Pretty good team. They are ranked 6th in the country. Last time we covered them, you took Florida. They said, no, Florida beats them, and they crushed them. Now they're in off a loss at Vanderbilt. Not really, it's a little shocking. Listen, you go on the road, you win by 1 or 2. Hey, winning on the road stuff, we get it. That's not a great loss there. Now they got Mississippi State. As you see, they are ranked 14th. Pretty tough little club here. Won the last 2 in the series, straight up. They've beaten them the last 2, and it's not like it's some rando thing here. They play each other. This is the same conference. They see each other often. So they got 2 in the bag versus them. I look at the line now. They've lost to Auburn on the road. You lost to Kentucky. Do they have a problem stepping up versus the elite teams? Now you got Tennessee, who's still like a top compound team here, like a top 5er, off a loss at home, and now looking at a double revenge. I would lean towards the Vols. I'm kind of a little biased in my Tennessee takes here, but I would lean Tennessee. Do you have a thought on this one?
Yeah, that's my lean too. Like you said, come out that loss. Vanderbilt's not a bad team. They're 37 in the net rankings. They're 50-3, 3-2 in the conference. Not a bad team at all. And it was a rivalry. It's a rivalry game. And Vandy, it's I don't want to call it a real tough environment, but it's a tough place to go and win by margin. So coming off that loss, if they had won that game, I would probably fade Tennessee because they have Auburn on deck. That's a huge game, obviously. Yeah. But coming off that loss, they want to get right before that. I think it's a fair number. 16-2, they're 5-2 in quad 1 games. I think they get it done here at home. Looking at, like you said, looking at their recent form, they're 1-3 in their last 4 against the spread, but the 3 losses were on the road. They're 7-3 at home on the year against the number, so they've been winning by margin at home, and I think this is a great spot to back them. Mississippi State coming off that overtime win over their rival Mississippi on Saturday, so I wouldn't call this a letdown for Mississippi State because of the rivalry game they just played, but it's a tough spot to come into. With the Vols coming off that loss.
Exactly, and like I said, you lost to Vandy. You lose to this one and play ugly, and then you got Vandy or Auburn on deck, and you could be looking at 3 straight losses. And then what's going on here? Do you have problems? Are you for real as a team?
Right. It is that revenge game. Like revenge doesn't mean as much in college hoops anymore because of turnover.
Yes.
They have one player coming back, so nobody was even there. But they lost to Mississippi State in not the first round, but their first game in the SEC tournament last year by double digits, 15 points maybe it was, I think. So it was a pretty big loss. So they'll have that game circled, I think, as well. But just it's gonna be a tough place to come in for the Bulldogs to try to come out with a victory, and even to keep it close, in my opinion.
Well, the coach is going to be like, "These guys have got me, so step up for me here and get it done."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah, 73-56 in a tournament. So I mean, that's a pretty
17. Yeah.
As a 10-point underdog, that's not a bad job there.
Yeah. Yeah, but Tennessee still has number 1, defense in the country as far as effective field goal percentage. So Mississippi State is a high-scoring team. They don't shoot it as well, but Tennessee can definitely slow this offense down.
Yep.
Which I think would be big.
All right, Tennessee for thee. We both like the Vols here to get it done and get back on track before they get Auburn in their next game here. But now we're going into our official video plays here. Matt Fargo will be looking at UConn minus 13, a 143.5 total here versus the Butler Bulldogs. Wow. So, I mean, look at this. UConn, 9-9 ATS on the season, which isn't shocking, right? You're going to have a team. It's going to be inflated with the lines, like any good team. We could. This is across the sport kind of talk here. Whether it's the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Chiefs, whoever you want to insert in here, you're a defending champion. You're a team thought of as really good, stuff like that. You're going to get the juicy line here. The 9-9 ATS, it is what it is here. Throw that out the window. Let's look at the history here. I got UConn winning 10 straight up in this thing, but only 2-8 ATS. And as you said, they're different players, but the coach kind of remains the same here. It's the same kind of plays, right? This is going back to, it's not old Big East with Raleigh Massimino and these guys playing for, being at school for 20 years. But you got the same kind of stuff here. The same kind of coaches last couple of years. Look at these lines. Butler's covered these kind of lines. Butler's covered them here. My problem is that I look at some of their losses. You're in off a win. You had a 9-game losing streak. Are you any good? And UConn here with a little bit of anger. I mean, Hurley's getting a little riled up here on the sidelines. You're off a loss to Creighton. Is this blowout city here, Matt?
I do not like laying big numbers in conference games typically, but in this one, I'm all for it. I think it's a great spot for UConn. This is kind of similar to the Tennessee game where, they're coming off their first home loss of the season. Second Big East loss. First one was to Nova by 2 points. And this is actually the first time this year that they have played back-to-back home games within the conference. So they snapped their 28-game home winning streak with that loss to Creighton. And I think this environment's just going to be fired up. I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care how bad they are. The one thing that they do have in their back pocket is they already have played Butler this year and only won by 4. So they're not going to look past this team. And that'll just be added motivation to it. And as I said, Butler, coming off win over Seton Hall, big deal. Seton Hall sucks. This was their first, first conference win. It was a quad 4 win, which is, not good. And they're going back in the quad 1 game scenario here, and they've dropped their last 4 in that. And I think you're just going into a bad spot here. You look at, like you said, the history. I would go back maybe a couple years just to look at it. And, UConn, I don't know. UConn has lost the last 2, but they just rolled before that. They just rolled this team. Yep. But the rosters are different, like I said, so I really don't look into that too much. I just like the scenario that they're in coming off that loss. They have – who do they have on deck? They have Xavier and DePaul on deck, so they're not looking forward to anything. They want to get back to the win column, and I think Hurley will want to get his team going and win this one big tonight against Butler.
Yeah. And it's a good team. They're all in here. As you said, they just broke a 9-game losing streak, right? And you got UConn's playing a little ho-humish. So get right here, avenge your home court loss that you got to start up a new streak on here. So official pick: UConn, the Connecticut Huskies minus 13 for Matt Fargo. This is Matt's free pick. Head to gamblersworld.net for his premium action. I see he's got a big ACC game in a month on top of plenty of other games going. Underdog, Enforcer, Annihilator, Doggies, everything. Get the day pass for Matt. Make the smart money move. I'm going to, listen, if you're loaded up with cash, buy each one individually. Go ahead.
All right, sure.
Yeah, people do it. I don't know why, but I'm trying to tell you. Sorry, Matt. I'll take a couple bucks out of your pocket with a day pass, but when you go 6-2 or whatever you're going to do today and have a winning day, they'll be back tomorrow anyway buying. So that's how we do things.
That's right.
Get the UConn freebie and then go load up on Matt's loaded college basketball card. Nice 6-2 run for my man here at gamblersworld.net. All right, I got one here. We're going to head to the Big 12. Texas Tech and Cincinnati. It's a 2. It's a 133.5 here. Tech, you lost at Iowa, and then you got a couple home losses here. I know it says 7.5. That should be. I don't know why I got Cincinnati as a touchdown favorite here. They lost to A&M at home. I can live with that. They're a good team, A&M. That's not a bad loss. It's an interstate kind of thing. We get that. UCF home loss as 13-point favorites. That's a little. I don't really love that, because I like Tech. I think Texas Tech's a good team. I think them, A&M, Baylor, you can lump them all together. They're all kind of like one team to me, because they're top 10, top 20 kind of KenPom type squads. And Cincinnati, they've lost. They're 12-5. Kansas, Baylor, Arizona, K-State. Nice little 4-game losing streak in the middle there. What is that? That's coming. You're 11-1 because you lost to Villanova, who's pretty good, I think, this year. I was kind of down on them. They look like they're a decent, not a bad team. But you come into Big 12 play and you immediately drop 4 in a row to all kind of comparable teams. Your Kansas, your Baylor's, Texas Tech is in that mold. I think they're better than, Arizona's a really good team, although they kind of play down. And for a team that always has like 2 or 3 NBA guys on it, it's a very underachieving squad for that bunch out there. And K-State's always a scrappy little bunch. I don't see them stepping up here. I don't want to lay 2 because, like I said, you lose to Central Florida, you lose me a little bit there, especially at home. You lose on the road would be one thing. You lost that at home as a 13-point fave. So I'm like, I'm going to go money line here with Texas Tech minus 135. If they're going to win, why am I going to sweat it out? I worry about some kid hitting free throws down the stretch, and it's a 74-73 game, and I'm kicking myself. I go money line here. Better team prevails. Since he hasn't beaten an elite squad this year, I'm going to go check on the money line here, minus 135 for the free play.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you were talking about, Arizona, Baylor, Kansas being comparable teams, they really are. So Tech is 14 in the net rankings, where Arizona's 15, Baylor's 28. So they're ahead of those two. Excuse me. And Kansas is number 9, so they're not far behind. And Cincinnati's all the way down at number 39. And that 4-game losing streak, like you said, pretty suspect. Like K-State, not a good team this year. Granted, it was on the road, but they got, blown up by Baylor, blown up by KU. They played Arizona tough, but like I said, Arizona's been just so up and down this year. You don't know what you're going to get from the Wildcats on any given day. So Tech, ever since that tough loss to Iowa State, man, that again went to overtime, never should have lost by a point there. They went to K-State, they won that game, and then they beat Arizona on Saturday by 16 at home. It's a pretty big win. So, the UCF loss concerning, but every team could get a little lazy every now and again. They're 3-0 on the road. They have Oklahoma State and TCU coming up, so there's no look ahead. I do like the spot. Money line, yeah, I'm okay with that. I would lay the points. I see a bunch of 1.5s out there still, so I would probably lay the points. But this is your play. Go money line, and I think the Red Raiders get done on the road. And until Cincinnati proves something, I don't think they can be trusted. They're 0-4 in quad 1 games. A couple blowouts. Lost to Villanova by 8. Lost to Arizona by 5. So they lost all 4 of their big games by at least 5 points. 2 of those at home. So go Red Raiders.
Let's go. Matt agrees on the free play here today. Texas Tech minus 135. UConn minus 13. What did we say? 13. Flat out 13 here, 13.5.
Yep,
Doesn't make
13.
a difference. UConn's going to roll minus 13. Let me adjust the 13 spot. I write them down, folks. Last week, 2-1. 2-1 here. This week, we're going to go 2-0 with the free plays. Texas Tech 135, UConn minus 13. But these are free plays. Head to gamblersworld.net for our premium action. As mentioned, Matt Fargo is a top game in a month going. 6 other packages. Go get one of them or get the day pass for $69.99. That's a smart money move. You're not walking over $20 on the street. Why would you do that here? Doesn't make any sense. Support Matt, the channel. Let's go. Get on board today. I got a 3-pack of college basketball. 193 and 147. I'm number 2 in the money on the site there behind Brian Butler. Although I have 3 times as many wins as Brian. So there's that. I fire a little more. I got a few more games going than everybody else. That's how I roll. But I've learned my lessons, man. I think I said this before in the show. Like, I start out really good in these hodgepodge tourneys and mismatch kind of tournaments and stuff like that. I've learned the last couple of years in January, February, I go straight like 500 run or worse, and I get kind of beat up. So I've been kind of reining in 3-4 games maybe a day. Last year I went 2-0 with some. I had FDU yesterday, Rando in Montana State. So 2 off the grid schools. I don't care. I'm gonna just. I learned. I'm not gonna. I'm doing well, but I'm not gonna. You don't force things either, folks. You're doing well. You don't. You're not at a blackjack table like, we're gonna press it up. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Play your style. Absolutely. Don't force yourself into things that other people are doing or what you think you should be doing. Do what you're comfortable with. And if you want to put out 10 games, put out 10. If you want to put out 1, put out 1.
That's it. It's I feel, and I've been looking because I've been writing down things that sort of like, and there's like, say, the other day there was like 20 games on a Saturday. I was like, all right, I'm not going to put 30 games out. I think I end up going 5-3 or something like that. But the other, I think there was like 19 games. At one point I was like, actually more. I think there was another, because I was 9-9. I was only halfway through. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to count it. I'm not even going to look. It's not even worth it. Why am I going to forget about it? Forget
you don't. You never look at what could have been. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do.
All you do is remember the win. Oh, I like that game. Would have won. You don't remember the 3 losers you had that day. You would have went 1-3.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
No. You can't do that. That is not good for your betting mind, folks. We always say that. Right? Gotta forget it. Better forget it. You can't worry about what could have, would have. No. All right. Free plays again. Texas Tech -135. UConn -13 from Fargo. Me, Matt, and Brian should be joining us tomorrow. We got some more college basketball. We got some back to the SEC, and I got a Big 12 matchup on tap for you. So be sure you tune in there. Like, subscribe, notification bells. Your thoughts on our 2 picks here in the chat. Let's go. Good luck, everybody. Bye-bye.